So now we're going to talk about the U17 group, the new group coming in this year, the 2001 birth years. Um, and again, this group, when they come into play, they're not going to come in and just shred the competition. If history repeats itself, which as it usually is, um, these guys throughout the first half of the season are going to win, a fair share of some games, of course, but they're going to lose a lot more than they win, especially throughout October to mid-November. Um, the good benchmark for watching this team is when the Under 17 World Hockey Challenge comes about in November up in Canada to go see how they fare against more of their peers and whatnot. But then you'll notice as Christmas time gets there and then beyond, they'll have a little bit more success because they're just getting used to the rigors of the USHL, the travel, playing against just bigger and stronger opponents that are also, as good or better than them. So, looking at the goaltenders here, Cameron Rowe, don't know anything about him, played for Team Illinois Midget Minor, not yet committed to a college. Again, I did make a post in the NTDP off-season thread on HF boards about these goaltenders and where they were drafted by maybe teams in the CHL, for example. I don't remember that off the top of my head. I don't have that post pulled up. But Spencer Knight, I do remember saying I think is going to be the better of the two goaltenders here. From Darien, Connecticut, played for Avon Old Farms, which is a New England prep school, which produces very, very good players. Cam Atkinson, for example, on the Columbus Blue Jackets, my favorite team in the NHL, came through that program. Spencer Knight's committed to Boston College. I did see like 3 streams from Avon Old Farms this past year, and he was as advertised. He was pretty good, especially in their playoff game against, I can't remember who they played against. But one of the things that is true when you're looking at players, yeah, you want to see them play live, but if you're at least watching them play, whether it be live or online, as long as you know what you're watching and you recognize good hockey when you see it, then I feel like it's valid to give some opinions on it. It's kind of funny, when I was at the U16, U18 Youth Nationals in Pittsburgh, obviously you see a lot of scouts there from, I saw scouts from the OHL, I saw a few London Knights Jackets, I saw USHL, colleges as well. But there was a scout, and I think he was for USA Hockey, maybe with the NTDP. I don't know. But at the top of where the seating area is, there's like a big level concrete area where you can walk and whatnot. And there was tables set up like every so often with scouts there with their computers and doing their notes and all that stuff, right? Well, this one guy had a USA Hockey jacket on. So I would assume he's affiliated with the program or something of that nature. He was an older guy, and he's watching the game in front of him live, and in front of him on his laptop, he has the stream on Hockey TV of the game going on behind us in the other rink. There's 2 rinks at the UPMC Lemieux Sports Complex. Very, very nice facility. And so he had that game going on his laptop, and as he's watching this game in front of him, I think it was CompuWare against Honey Baked, the game going on behind him, he would look at his computer screen and he would hit the back button a few times to rewind 25 seconds. And then he would get real close to the screen and follow. You can tell he was following a certain player. And then he would pause it, write a few notes down on whatever play just happened, on this stream in front of him. And then he would pick his head up and start watching the game that was going on in front of him. It was pretty funny to see. So even scouts and whatnot use technology to their advantage when they need to. But Spencer Knight, I think, is going to be a good goaltender. We'll see. I mean, hasn't played a game yet in the USHL, but I think he's gonna adjust pretty well to the game. He'll see a lot of rubber. I mean, he'll see a lot of rubber in his first couple of games, so he'll get used to it. He'll be all right. And he's committed to BC already, so obviously he's a good goaltender. Some of the defensemen, and again, I brought these guys up in the post earlier, but Case McCarthy played for the Buffalo Junior Sabres. I saw him play twice in person. He's a New York kid, committed to Boston University already. As a 15-year-old, he committed to him. A lot of these guys are committed, so obviously there's a lot of talent coming into the program this year, as there is on any given year. But Case McCarthy is a guy that I saw live twice when he played against the Cleveland Barons here. Very, very good, smooth hockey player. There's nothing about his game that I didn't like. And he came as advertised. I knew who he was from a post in this blog called, it's from the website SB Nation, College Hockey or something like that. And I think his name's Chris Dilks. I think he made the post. Very good hockey guy, a lot of knowledge. I read a lot of his stuff every so often. He made a post about some of the top 2001 birth years. And Case McCarthy was one of them. And this is at the beginning of last year, so it was when Case was going from his bantam year to his midget year. Didn't know who he was. I don't follow bantams. I start kind of watching that level when they hit the U16 level. And so I'm like, okay, so I'll make a note of that and watch the Buffalo Junior Sabres when they come into town. And sure enough, he was as advertised. He's a big kid. He skates very smoothly. Smart with the puck. Again, didn't really make a mistake all game. I think I made a comment in the post that I made about how he would go coast to coast very, very smoothly. So he would get the puck maybe around his own hash marks, and he could turn up ice and just cut through two or three guys through the neutral zone and then set up a play. Nobody beat him one-on-one all game. And there was another play where he cut across the ice to meet this Barons player that was coming over the blue line. Took the puck from him. As he was turning up the ice, he kind of lost it in his feet, and the Barons player caught him and tried to take it back. And then he again turned, put his shoulder into him, lifted his stick, and then turned right up the ice and took the puck up the ice. The Barons didn't really have an answer for him all game long. Really good player. Looking forward to seeing him play. Another kid that I saw, Drew Hellison from Shattuck St. Mary's, the 16U team. From Minnesota, committed to Boston College. There is a lot of BC commits on this team. A lot of them. Drew Hellison's one of them. And he's a guy that I said in the comments on HF boards is a guy that I like a lot. So I saw Shattuck St. Mary's play at the Youth Nationals against Omaha AAA, which is a very, very good program in the middle of the country in Nebraska. Drew Hellison was, I think, the best player that I saw that day. And that's including Marshall Warren, who I know has the potential to be the best player on this team. He's the most hyped up player. But Drew Hellison, I liked his game a lot. Very, very smooth. He moves laterally, diagonally, whatever you want to call it. The kid can cut across the ice. His gap control was phenomenal. A couple of guys from Omaha's top line tried to beat him one-on-one. Nobody did it. Poked the puck off their stick and made a nice play. Was never caught out of position because of how good his skating is. Similar to Case McCarthy. And Case McCarthy's big. And Drew Hellison isn't as big as Case McCarthy is, but I liked his game a lot. He was very smooth. Almost like a small Shane Gostisbehere in a way. I have also seen Marshall Warren play from New York. Played for the North Jersey Avalanche, committed to Harvard. So again, that's some really good talent that could be playing for Harvard in 2 or 3 years. Just think of if that team had Oliver Wahlstrom on it, Bodie Wild, and Marshall Warren, among others that are going to be good on that team regardless. So Marshall Warren is a kid that's very, very quick. He's big. You can read about, if you just Google this guy, you can read what people have already said about him. He's very, very good. I saw him play only once in person, and it was against that same Omaha AAA team the day prior. And I had my eyes on him every time he was on the ice. One of the players that I was looking forward to seeing play the most, and he was very, very good. Didn't make a mistake all game long, was very, very fluid, didn't get beat, made very smart passes with the puck. You know, you can just tell that, okay, yeah, this guy's as advertised. It's a small sample size, I know that, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he does when he makes the step up to playing in the USHL, as Drew Hellison as well, and Case McCarthy. Alex Vlasic, I did see play with the Chicago Mission in that same tournament. He's a BU commit. Not as advertised as these other players that I just mentioned. I think he's a bigger kid. Their height isn't listed on here yet for some reason. But Vlasic was a player that I think is going to need time to develop. We'll see where he goes and you know how he develops over the next 2 years with the program. Maybe can compare him to a DJ King, a player that I mentioned who's playing with the U18 group. Bigger, lanky defenseman, needs a little bit more seasoning, but we'll see where he goes. And that's about it as far as the D-men are concerned. I remember Case McCarthy, I think his draft rights are owned by the Sarnia Sting in the OHL. Marshall Warren was drafted by the Mississauga Steelheads. Again, you're seeing some of these Eastern Conference OHL teams not afraid to draft some of these top-end American players. I'm telling you, that's one of the reasons why a lot of these Western Conference teams in the OHL have had a lot of success, because they do have really, really good Canadian players. I mean, that's obvious, right? But they're not afraid to take chances on guys like Max Jones, Matthew Tkachuk, for example, Christian Dvorak. I mean, Jesus, those two players alone, those two Americans, along with Mitch Marner, was one of the reasons why London was so good that year, 2 years ago. You know, the Kitchener Rangers have drafted some really good American kids in the past. The Plymouth Whalers always had a player in their system that was playing with the US NTDP that would eventually commit to Plymouth. Guys like Sonny Milano, JT Miller, Ryan Hartman, Connor Carrick, who him and Ryan Hartman were very instrumental in how good that Whalers team was in 2013. I saw that team play live like probably 6 or 7 times that year. I actually went to watch them play back-to-back nights on a Tuesday and a Wednesday in that playoff series against London in the Western Conference Final. It was one of the best playoff series that I've ever seen. And London did win the series in 5 games, but each game was so close. It was very dramatic. Just an awesome hockey playoff series. Anyway, I mean, Carrick and Hartman were there, 2 NTDP alums. So then with some of these forwards, Jack Hughes is a player that a lot of people know. He's from Orlando, Florida. I mean, his dad's involved in hockey. Played for the Toronto Marlboros minor midgets last year. Not college committed. We'll see. Could go either way. I would assume, though, that he might go the major junior route. I'm not sure when... excuse me. I'm not sure if he's available for the 2019 draft or if he's going to be in the 2020 draft. Some of these guys that come into the program miss it by just a couple of days. Tkachuk, for example, is one of them. Brady Tkachuk. I assume he's available for 2 years from now, but actually never saw him play in any streams or anything like that. I know there's highlight videos of him on YouTube and whatnot, and from what I've heard, he's a tremendous player. You know, has the total package as far as what you want in an offensive player. So really excited to seeing what he does. Also, Danny Waite, the son of Doug Waite, I believe, from the Islanders, played for the PAL Junior Islanders Midgets 16U team. Want to see what he does. Don't know much about him. Johnny Beecher, from Elmira, New York, played for Salisbury School, another one of those Massachusetts prep schools that played against Avon Old Farms, for example. He's not committed. Neither is Danny Waite, for example, who I just mentioned. But Johnny Beecher, I know he put up a ton of points playing for Salisbury School as a 15-year-old playing against, some 16, 17-year-olds in high school hockey. I know it's high school. I get it. And he's a guy that I think is going to be an offensive player. Haven't seen him play. Can't really talk about his game. Alex Turcotte I did see play. Excuse me. Chicago Mission. Saw him play at the Youth Nationals along with his teammate Vlasic. Committed to Wisconsin, so they got some decent commits that are in the program right now. And he was very, very good. Quick hands. He was a guy that nobody could really take the puck from him. Very skilled, wasn't afraid to get into the dirty areas of the ice. But he had a few plays in the neutral zone that kind of, I went there with my dad, kind of made us look at each other like, you just see that? Good player. Michael Gilden, I was about to say the son of, the brother of Max Gilden, who just finished with the U18s last year, Plano, Texas, played for the same midget program that his brother did, the Dallas Stars Elite, not yet committed. Not as skilled as his brother is. He is a forward. We'll see. I think he's going to need some time to develop. We'll see what his game brings. But I saw him play in a very, very physical game against the Pittsburgh Pens Elite U16 team in one of the round-robin games. One of the games had just finished up. I think it was the North Jersey Avalanche, Marshall Warren's team, against Omaha AAA. And we walked right across the aisle to go see some of the other game. And there was penalties galore. Really, really physical game. Didn't really notice Gilden a whole lot. Again, he's not really as advertised as his brother is. But, we'll see what he can do. Trevor Zegras from Bedford, New York, again, played for Avon Old Farms, just like his teammate and goaltender Spencer Knight, committed to BU. I've seen him play in some streams before. Very, very good. Very good player. I think he kind of reminds me of a Clayton Keller. Dare I say it. I think that he can be that type of player on this team. I think he'll provide a lot of offense. He's got really good vision. So we'll see if that can materialize. We'll see if I'm right about that. But I think there's been some people that have said that he could end up being the best player on this team. So we'll see. That's kind of the breakdown of the U17s. Maybe I'll make another video showing off my jersey collection a little bit. I mean, I have maybe 12 to 13 jerseys now. I have, whenever I go to games, I keep the ticket, so maybe show a little bit of that as well, just for some ideas, some little off-season ideas here. But yeah, that's kind of my breakdown of the under 17 group. I said before there's a lot of BC and BU commits. Well, let's count it. Boston College has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have 6 players on this team that are committed to BC alone. Boston University has 3. Harvard has 3. And there's also 5 players that haven't been committed yet. And then there's other ones like Ohio State, Quinnipiac, North Dakota, Notre Dame, and 2 from Wisconsin. Or 2 committed to Wisconsin. So there's a little breakdown of some of the players to watch for this incoming group. Until next time.